To another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations to start this new month. Green candles across the board. So in today's video, I'm going to do a quick recap of our monthly close last night and how I see the rest of this week playing out for Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and I'll also cover the DXY US dollar currency index to see how that fits into my long-term analysis on the rest of this crypto bull run. Also, I'll be extending my sale for the Mastermind course until the end of today because yesterday I uploaded my video a little later than usual and I had a lot of people reaching out inquiring about the course, so I'll share some more details on that in a moment. And just a reminder, the new month has started on Patreon. If you've been waiting to join, I appreciate your support. You can visit patreon.com/watersabove to sign up for my Mastermind community membership, and that will give you exclusive access to all of my posts, all of my weekly Red Pill episodes, my technical analysis podcasts, which we have 26 at this time. We'll be doing the 27th episode either today or tomorrow, covering a bunch of altcoins. Definitely going to be touching on Zilliqa, T-Fuel, probably Vitho. Lots of stuff to go over. And you'll also get access to our community Discord to chat with like-minded individuals and get access to all of my live updates to see what I'm buying or selling. And that will be for spot investing and any de-risking I'm doing in this market. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria Numerology and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious people to help grow this community. It will be the last 24 hours for my Mastermind course sale. So for those of you who want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course with the promo code in the pinned comment below for a discount. My email is in the description box to get in contact with me for access to the course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So one of the things that I mentioned in my Mastermind community Discord yesterday was how October is actually the 8th month. Of course, oct, like octagon, has 8 sides. Oct equals 8. So today's date can actually be perceived as 8-1 or as 18. So 8 for oct and 1 the day of this month. We have the 81 and we have the 18 written internationally. And what's really interesting about this is today is Friday, which is Freya Day, or Viernes, the day of Venus. And of course, these 81s and 18s come back to Venus. 81, 18. It's a powerful combination. And because I just mentioned how we get the word Friday from Freya, the Norse goddess, and of course we have Freya spelled as such, giving us that 18 in Chaldean. It's all tied together, guys. Of course, 18 coming back to the day. Oct is 8 and 1, 18. It's amazing how this all ties together between different languages as they're translated back. And you could just go to Wikipedia yourself for this way of spelling Freya. Freyja, just like I spelt it right here, giving us that 18, of course, tying back to Venus with that 18 and that 81 connection like today. So why is this so important? Well, where else do we see that 18? We see it in Shemitah, Chaldean cipher, right? Just like Freya in the same cipher. And we are currently in Shemitah. I've been talking about this since May, and that is the 7-year cycle practiced in Judaism. Of course, we have the 77 when we type that word out, and that 23 connecting back to Bitcoin and the Chaldean cipher. We know who's running this show along with the Jesuit order. So this is a really powerful number sequence that we're all seeing. And before the year of this current year that we're in, the Hebrew year 5782, which is in this Shemitah. Before that, we had 5781. That was the Hebrew year before the date of September 7th this year. That transition into Rosh Hashanah. And this 21, of course, all ties back to Saturn And I've been talking about how this was so important because we were in the 21st year in the 21st century, which we still are in the Gregorian calendar, the scam calendar. That's why I've been trying to educate everyone on what the real number of the months are and breaking it down in a deeper format. So this is something to pay attention to because we're moving into the year of 2022, and this 2022 can be added up, and of course 20 plus 22 giving us that 42, and that 42 as well, it will be coming back to Saturn with that 42 and these guys right there. We know who's running this show, and these 21s and 42s are extremely powerful. Even when you type 22, you're getting that 42 in the Chaldean cipher when you actually type it out. So this is all still tied to Saturn, the Jesuit order, and that 21, when you flip it, of course, we have the 21 and 42 in the same ciphers I just showed you. That 21, when you flip it, you naturally get the 12, and that comes back to December. And that's why I've been telling everyone that I see this crypto cycle getting really intense around the month of December, predominantly for the early part of December's new moon with Bitcoin, and then transitioning out of Bitcoin into the altcoins to end off December. The end of December particularly is going to be incredible for the altcoins. So let's get into the analysis on the dollar index really quickly to see what's been going on. So a lot of manipulation over the past couple weeks. Again, I've been telling everyone for months now that September is the month of confusion, and you can see we had this W format breakout to the upside, which is a typical textbook breakout pattern for bullish sentiment. And we can see that we started to get a little bit overheated. We can tell on the day before the local top, the RSI started to get slightly into the overbought territory. And let's check something out, which is going back in time. I always like to do this because I've noticed there's cycles here. And you can see that right back here was the same time of year last year. And where is the price action trading? It actually created a lower high. I don't think a lot of people are discussing this, but this is very important for people to see, to give more of a confidence behind a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency bull run. So you can see right here on September 25th through the 28th, there must have been a weekend there. It topped out, and when it topped out, it actually fell pretty quickly down till around the end of October. Again, this is all in my sentiment behind Bitcoin reaching new all-time highs by the end of this month. So I see at least before November 1st, a new all-time high for Bitcoin. And this sentiment makes a lot of sense if we're looking back to last year, along with the fact that we didn't make a higher high. This is a lower high compared to up here, which reached 94.7. Okay, and then you also have a little bit of bullishness early into November, which is normal, followed by a huge downtrend into early January. That's exactly my sentiment that I've been sharing around how the end of this year will go for crypto. When the DXY goes red, crypto goes green. It's an inverse indicator if you want to call it that. So let's go into the weekly chart, and I'm going to show you what this dotted trend line is all about. So if we go back here, you can see this dotted trend line actually started in 2011. So this is a very long-term trend line. This is around 11 years old, or you could just say around 10 years old. Actually, now it started here. We got 2 touch points. Then we got a third touch point about 3 years later, almost 4 years later. And then you can see after the C word pump in the DXY, of course, because when there's a market correction, the DXY moons and it will go up very fast, very quick. Then this correction brought us down to retesting the trend line. We tried to bounce off of it and then a rejection coming down. Then we can see that it actually flipped as a resistance. You have resistance, 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 and actually this might be another resistance. And since today is the weekly close for Forex for the DXY, if we're closing below this trend line, that gives me a lot of confidence that this will start to reverse. And the way that this will reverse, we just have to see how it reacts to this downsloping, what was a very short-term resistance, by the way. Remember, this is weekly candles. So let's go into the daily and you could see what I mean. This is a clear resistance. We had it, and then once it pumped out, it started to clearly, just go up without back testing. So because it hasn't back tested this line, I am anticipating at least a return back to the 93s and see how that holds. But of course, our fibs are way more important. So we have that 236, and the 236 is always the line in the sand between where are we going. And because Bitcoin has already started somewhat of a bottoming structure and now it is ready to move to the upside, what I'm anticipating now is this probably coming back to this trend line eventually. This actual resistance line is a much stronger trend line. And again, trend lines work really, really well with Forex and traditional stocks. They do not work that well with crypto. Crypto's much more volatile, a lot more leverage behind it, and a lot more unsophisticated traders behind it. So we can see one touch point, 2, 3. That's a confirmed support. So all in all, I'm just considering that this was actually a lower high compared to last year's September highs, and it was typical for into late October this to correct. So we have some time, of course, between now and about 30 days, 40 days or so to start seeing it pump back up a little bit after a correction, just like we saw back here. Essentially a rejection into late September, come down into October, a little relief into early November, which again, that wouldn't be out of the cards, and then continuation to the downside into finishing off the year. So that's our DXY analysis for now. If I see anything critical come up, I'll let everyone know. Now let's move on to the Bitcoin analysis because we have a lot to say. Of course, we had our monthly close yesterday, and remember that 44,000 target I was sharing with everyone in the video. It's amazing how right there at the end of the month, we just started to see everything that we were talking about in yesterday's video come to life. So let's turn on this 10 simple moving average because the 8 is what I like to use on shorter time frames, but we are on the monthly chart. And now we can see that we actually perfectly closed above for the month of September, above our 10 simple moving average. And you can see that we've maintained closures above that moving average going all the way back to the C word crash, or I like to call it a reset because that's all it was. It was a quick red followed by green continuation of new highs within 100 days. That's a reset, not a market crash. So these types of things are important because they shake out dumb money and they bring in smart money, and they just shake out retail and try to reset or reboot the market with a new sentiment. They get you sucked into thinking that it's the end times when it's actually the best times. So we can see here that we had our monthly close into September, very nice. And as long as we're maintaining closures above the 10 simple moving average on the monthly, I'm bullish. So let's move on to the weekly. Now with the weekly, of course, we see our local resistance is going to be that 10, but let's flip it back to the 8 and see what we're getting. And I guarantee it's the wick highs of today. Yep, of course. So we can see that the 8 simple moving average, again, this is why I like to use it a lot on the weekly and then smaller time frames, 5-day, 3-day, 2-day, etc. I like using the 8, again, Fibonacci number, etc. So let's pay attention to this, and we can see that this is the line of resistance that we have to deal with. We can see all the way going back to September, pretty much right from the start of the correction. This level was trying to hold support, and then dump through, and now it has flipped resistance for pretty much 3 straight weeks. We have to see how this week concludes, but I would venture to say any weekly close coming up the next 2 days, this weekly close above 48,000, extremely bullish. So we have to see, because tomorrow, of course, is the 2nd. Again, I was very adamant about no new lows, nothing below 40K. I never thought of a crash on the 2nd or anything. It was just to complete the 58-day structure that we get with Bitcoin. This isn't about being perfect. This is about just knowing the energy and the movement of the energy and how long it will take to get out of it. So of course we have our new moons and we have our full moons, but I like to have even more data to come along, and we have this low coming back on the 5th, and of course if we measure out till tomorrow we have 58 days. I have not seen Bitcoin correct to new lower lows after 58 days for this entire last almost 2 years. So this is very good to me. This is telling me that tomorrow is probably only coming down to 44, 45 at best. And I'll break down that analysis a little more as we go on. So anywho, we have the 5-day closure coming in very soon, actually before the weekly close. And I would venture to say that any closures above this 8 simple moving average would be incredible. So anything above 45,000 in that regard for Saturday night's close, that would be tomorrow night. 3-day looking very nice. We can see that the 3-day closed yesterday, and that 3-day closure above that 55 simple moving average is very nice, considering you had 1, 2, 3 straight 3-day closures below it. Yesterday showed strength, and then we can see that we've been healing since then. Let's go to the 2-day. Same story. We can see that the 55 simple moving average on the 2-day was actually an incredible support, textbook support. Let's turn on our exponential moving averages, and we can see that also this closure tonight, which will be the 2-day close, is very critical because we'll be closing above all of our key moving averages, the 8, 13, 21, 30 for exponential, and then also clearly above that 55. This 2-day is looking really nice. As long as we close today above 45,000, which I would suppose will happen, looking incredible. Let's go to the daily. Okay, daily, wow, okay. Even above the 55, that's very powerful. So this is also a lower high. You got to watch out for stuff like that because we can see right there our highs were coming in around 48.8. I was telling you guys about that. Until we get a daily close above this high right here on the 18th of September, we're pretty much ranging, right? So this is too green too fast, and crypto tends to do that where it just goes green in a huge candle very quickly after we exit full moon energy. So you can see from the 29th all the way from wick to wick, Bitcoin has gone up 17% in less than three trading days. That's powerful. So if we compared that to the altcoins, we would see what's going on here. Very massive to form a bottoming structure where everyone is getting bearish. It's trapping in bears, and then it reverses real quick. Tries to trap people in high leverage longs, thinking we're just going to immediately go straight to the sky, and then we do consolidate and backtest levels. Those of you unaware of what I just said, you do need to maybe watch some of my older videos, or you could consider educating yourself with material like my course or another course out there to catch yourself up on what's going on here. So another thing I could consider is also this W. This W looking off of the candle closes on the daily, that's a lot stronger than using wicks. If I was to turn this off log and I was to consider a measured move here from this neckline, so you can see we have a V, then we have a secondary V. The secondary V has higher lows. That is a confirmed W, right? Until we break above previous highs, this isn't actually a W playing out in the bullish sense. So let's just see what's going on here. We have from the neckline down to this bottom wick right here. And then I'm going to move this up to above the neckline, and you're going to see where we get. We essentially get right back to this 618 level, and that 618 level would be the start of the Fibonacci golden pocket, 51,000. Essentially, this measured move would bring us up to around 50.6, but we know cryptocurrency, it's way more volatile on the upside and way more volatile on the downside. So something to consider here is that this next move up, as long as it could close dailies above this yellow line here, which is this local high, that would actually be a continuation pattern or a reversal pattern. At least in the micro sense. Ultimately, we still have some levels to conquer. We have the Rosh Hashanah highs, etc. But what I would like to see here is a backtest of this neckline. I only get bullish after backtesting previous resistance. So you can see right here, this was holding support and then this confirmed a resistance. So this line of 45K, I would really like that to get backtested personally. Of course, the market's not going to do what I want it to do. It's not going to do what you want it to do. So you have to be okay with that. But more importantly, it's about looking at this and accepting what comes. What's the next move here? And likely we should be backtesting at least the 45K level. Why? Because it's the previous high in the structure and we never had any opportunity to even touch it. Just went straight green. Okay, so I would much prefer closing today at wherever we're at now and then pulling back a little bit, at least retesting this 200 simple or as low as the 21 exponential moving average, pretty much all around that 45,000 level. And even if it's a wick followed by a bounce, then that bounce we would wait to pass highs, and then that W will play out, most likely leading us to the upside target of the 618. And that short term could happen as soon as the new moon, which is the 6th of October. And then we have to see how it reacts to the actual high in our structure to confirm a true reversal, because we have our lows, higher low, higher low. Here would be our higher low off of these lows back in August. We are actually reversing. We're starting a reversal pattern. We just need to claim these highs. And then we can see that this will look like a true recovery. It would look something like this if I had to show you. So something like this is what I've actually been anticipating. It was that rising gradient bottom formation that I brought up all the way back in my YouTube videos from late May. I told everyone this looks like a reaccumulation after decline using a Wyckoff method, where if you were to zoom in, this would look like your buying climax, this would look like your selling climax, this would look like your automatic rally, and then you would essentially have this moment called crossing the creek. And crossing the creek looks exactly like this. It's incredible how this works. And then, of course, you'd be heading on to new highs, breaking structure by late October, moving into November. So this is exciting, guys. We have a lot of bullish things going on, but I'd rather just give it some time, let this new moon come to play. Let's see if we backtest these levels. Of course, the natural downside levels would be around 45,000, and that would definitely be an area where I would anticipate a bounce. Then if everything goes against us and it gets overly bearish, I would look for the 382 fib and then as low as these wicks around 40,800. Daily closures below 40,600, that's when I would get bearish. But for now, this is looking bullish to me. Let's go to the XRP analysis and see what's going on there. And then I'm also going to cover Ethereum in today's episode because I feel like there's some things to say about that. So one thing I want to mention really quickly actually is this chart, which shows this trend line. And I actually had this chart drawn out in a video, and you can see it was based on the closures. So the closures right here, followed by multiple resistance touch points. And you could see today we actually traded right up into it with a resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click this, and I'm going to extend this line because I feel like this trend line is actually quite important. It is much more important than some people might have imagined. And some people think when they see trend lines like this, like, oh, Waters, this is a bad trend line because there's trading volume up here. And what is this? I'm telling you guys this to just get it through everyone's heads. I am not big on pattern trading, and I'm not huge when it comes to trend lines in crypto. If you're doing Forex and stocks, sure, go for it. You can be an artist and draw a bunch of lines on your chart. But when I am doing my TA, I only like to use trend lines in a very unique way when I see them fit. Ultimately, it's the fibs, the EMAs, the RSI, MACD, and just the overall understanding of what's going on month to month based on this esoteric code of Gematria Numerology and Astrology. That's what's going to set you up to be the best trader that you could possibly be. But when it comes to trend lines, a lot of new investors just spend way too much time drawing on charts, and that's not my style. I actually teach people how to use the moving averages, how to use all of these indicators. The trend lines come later. That's when you could be a little bit more creative. And when I use my trend lines, it's because I'm seeing a pattern forming. I'm not worried about these extreme events like up here. These things are irrelevant to me because this is a bull trap, just like I told you it would be. Getting people long at the worst time when we hit our perfect textbook target of $1.40. The same thing goes in the opposite direction, coming perfectly down to our 86-cent level that we shared months in advance, and then getting people to go short when it's actually the worst time. You can see the next day after it hit 86 cents, it went up 14% in a single day. Where are we getting that 14 from? Of course, we're getting it on XRP. So is it weird that we hit $1.40 with a correction to 86 cents? Of course, $1.40 we get in the 14. Ripple, we get that 86 or 86 cents. And then it's an immediate 14% pump the next day. 1.4. No, guys, that's not random. It's because Gematria runs this market. So what this trend line is telling me is until we get a confirmed daily close above it, and definitely that 382 fib, I'm not getting too excited just yet. Again, just like I was saying with Bitcoin, until Bitcoin actually shows me highs above the Rosh Hashanah highs, which were around 52,800, let's just call it 53,000, I'm pretty much just looking at a sideways market. It's just a very volatile sideways market, lots of price action up and down. So consider this trend line as pretty important. Of course, it's just on the daily closures and then showing the rejection on the 16th. So let's go to my other chart, the chart that I've been focusing on more in my YouTube videos. And we can see here that this trend line was just to show you the energy, how it just wraps around the trend line. And you can see today, we actually have a daily open above that trend line. And this is showing me that this is getting ready for reversal. I also shared in my video yesterday that $6 upside target. We perfectly got rejected off that 382. I want to see closes above $1.13 heading up to that 0.5 fib, and that would make me feel like this was a solid buyback area. This area right here was just like buying Bitcoin around 40K last week. Incredible buying opportunity for people who don't have this crypto. And of course, I believe this coin's going to $7 to $14, maybe even $15 by the end of the year. Easy. Now, what I'm seeing here was the monthly close we know was bullish because yesterday when I was doing my analysis, we had that closure. We were trading above the 10 simple. So of course this is even more bullish because we're trading above the 8 simple moving average on the monthly. So this is looking really good for XRP on the macro. Now, what we're seeing here is on this weekly, we bounced off the 21 exponential. That's a textbook indicator as well for weekly. And I would love to see a closure above this 13 moving average on the weekly. Ultimately, though, I would get happy if XRP closes above the 8 simple. The shortest term moving average always makes me feel more confident. And you can see right here, this $30 area is like a rock solid resistance. That's ultimately the level that once we get a weekly close, not a daily, a weekly above this 131 level, that would be a closure high. So keep that in the back of your mind. $1.31 XRP on the weekly close. That would be when you start seeing it head to new highs to $2 and then eventually retesting its all-time highs. So I'm just going to look at the 2-day because I know that closes tonight and this is looking pretty good. Of course, I would like it to close above all of our key moving averages. So around $1.03, $1.02, that would be perfection. So of course, $1.02, $1.03 for tonight would be pretty much where I start looking for a bottom, or I call a bottom. Like we called the bottom at 86 cents. That's beautiful to the wick. Again, also around that $2 level, we can see the 34 exponential moving average closer above that. Same thing as I just said on the 2-day would look very good. Until I'm seeing this white moving average get crossed with this yellow moving average, this 8 simple crossing above the 55, I'm calling that the wolf cross. Until that comes to fruition, I'm not anticipating massive changes in the market, especially Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum being the top leaders in my perspective. So I'm interested in that. I would love to eventually see that. I still don't see it coming in though until closer to October. So it's going to take some time. And I've told everyone that anyways, expect ranging sideways until late October. We have to get through that new moon, get through that full moon, and start moving into November. November is where it's the month of recovery. We have September is the month of confusion. October is the month of surprises. November, it's the month of recovery. December is the month of blast off to the upside. So we are looking pretty damn good. Downside targets naturally around 94 cents in this cluster of trading and on the 8 simple moving average. Besides that, this is looking fantastic. Let's look at the 21 exponential. Definitely closing tonight above that dollar would be great because that's the 21 EMA, but ultimately $1.02, $1.03 would be incredible. Since today will be the weekly close for Forex for the dollar, once the market closes today and Forex closes, then it's a Bitcoin show for a couple hours leading into its daily close. So I believe that would give more reason behind bullishness. Also, we have our bullish MACD cross for XRP looking very solid. Any closures here today, histogram stays green, not just this one green candle on September 6th. Of course, they got you bullish thinking that this was going to work, but we knew the truth. We knew that Rosh Hashanah was going to bring that pullback, and it was beautiful to see. So let's move on to Ethereum really quickly and share our thoughts before wrapping this video up. Oh, this is looking great. Okay, so beautiful. We can see that this is definitely looking good on the daily. We're about to flip bullish on MACD histogram, and the RSI is above 50. So any daily closure above this 21 exponential above $3,130 looking very solid. Let's look at our weekly just for some context. Damn, this thing's already trading above the 13. Ethereum's looking really good. So this topside resistance would naturally be the 8 simple moving average around 33,000. Anything above 3,300. I'm speaking ahead of myself. I'm speaking 5 years in the future, guys. So anyways, the $3,400 target above this 8 simple moving average will look really nice. And also all of these EMAs on the macro are pointed to the upside. While they're sloping up, that's very bullish. So let's look at our 2-day. Again, similar story to XRP. This whole market pretty much is a carbon copy of itself for the top coin. So this is looking really solid. Any closures today above that 3,200 level, which is essentially where we are today, would be really, really nice. Let's look if we have any fibs pulled up. Oh yeah, this is very strong. So this is the macro fib from the local highs, current all-time high, down to these swing lows. And you can see that essentially we're just retesting this trend line, but ultimately holding the 0.5 fib. After multiple daily back tests of the 382, this is looking great. So let's keep this all in mind. Let's go log and see where our main trend line is. It's a trend line I shared with everyone a while ago. I'm going to hide my indicators and hide that, turn this off, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. So this is from the start of the C-word crash, support all throughout last fall. Then we can see that when we had the June and July lows, we actually retested on the July lows, and then recently on this Rosh Hashanah correction, we pretty much surfed on this as well. So this is pretty damn close to the trend line. As we trade closer into the month of October, you can see that the 0.5 fib will naturally be the support around $3,000. And I do actually suppose we're going to have a secondary bull trap for Ethereum and the cryptos moving into this October new moon. So of course we can go as late as 5 to 10 to, typically 5 days after. So that would put us to around the 11th or so. We can actually trade all the way up to $3,600, $3,700 around October 13th and still come down and correct into this trend line and do something like this. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's not actually a textbook bull trap necessarily, but it will look like one. It will look like one because we have a high and then we have a failed secondary high, which is very bearish looking. But again, remember, it's crypto. It's all ritual. It runs on this code. So anyways, the new month has started on Patreon. The Mastermind community membership, get instant access to all of my exclusive posts, private Discord, and also see what I'm buying and selling with live updates. And the last 24 hours until my Mastermind course sale ends, it'll allow you to prepare for my upcoming advanced trading course, which is releasing next month on November 1st, the date 111. And I plan to have that be spoken about with all the details probably in the next couple weeks. And also, I believe I will be doing a live stream tonight around 5 p.m., possibly 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned for that in a couple hours. Enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.